Hello, it's Monday the 10th of June and it's 9 o'clock in the evening. We're currently at anchor.
Again.
Recurring theme here as we make our way slowly around the coast. We're at anchor in Holy Isle, but we'll come back to that in a wee while. So if you do hear a bit of noise in the background, it is a little bit fresh outside. We're hunkered down in the cabin at the moment. Not a lot of space in here, it's safe to say. When we're both in here together, we're kind of squashed together. We can't both sit upright, for example. There's not enough width there, so we've just got to kind of work our way around each other.
And there's no comfy seat.
Yeah. So spending a lot of time in here, you know, some people think being on boats probably just relaxing and everything. It's not really built for other things, this boat. Anyway, about our journey so far.
So yeah, we've made it to Lunan Bay in the early hours of Friday the 7th of June. So that was a bonus, and unfortunately we didn't move from Lunan Bay for a couple of days. The weather forecast was just really against us, and it was better just to stay in the shelter of the bay and keep our anchor dropped. But we had plenty of visitors to keep us going. So on the Friday, Montrose RNLI boat dropped by with their Shannon class lifeboat to say hello, which was really nice of them. And then early hours of Saturday morning, I don't envy their exercise time at Arbroath. They popped along with our little Atlantic 85. We say little, but it's actually bigger than Boadicea, a whole metre and a half longer. So it was really nice to see them as well. And then just before we picked up our anchor on Sunday lunchtime to head down to Arbroath, a kayaker dropped by. Ross popped by to say hello, and he's making his way up the north coast, so he was just nipping into Lunan Bay for a spot of lunch, and then he was going to carry on north the day. So
yeah, he'd seen our journey online though, and he wanted to come over and say hello.
Yeah, which was really
was
cool.
really nice, and he's since donated through the Just Giving links as well to both charities, so thank you, Ross. Really nice to meet you. Yeah, where did we go then? So we raised anchor.
We fought our way to Arbroath.
Yeah, it was quite interesting to start with because the tide was with us, and it was quite quick, but we had a significant headwind, so we stayed really close into the cliffs. And every little change of course to follow the coast, if we hung out just a little bit too far, the wind caught us and it made it a real fight to get back into the coast. So it was generally okay until we got to just as the bay opens up, approaching Arbroath, and then we had to fight our way across the bay, which just seemed to take an age. That seems to be a recurring theme of the journey. If you think you're nearly at the end of your leg that you've got planned, don't ever think about, I've got an hour to go, because that hour becomes 2 or 3 or 4. Yeah. That is a recurring theme, so we need to think of a different way of route planning and getting it in our heads. But we got to Arbroath safe and well, and a little bit tired because it had been a fair slog, so we dropped anchor about 5:30 with the plan of eating a quick safety snooze and getting going again.
So yeah, we managed to get ourselves in that really good position on Arbroath so we could head straight for St Abbs Head when the weather window allowed, and we knew that weather window was coming, which was why it was really quite important for us to slog on down to Arbroath. So 1 o'clock in the morning we lifted anchor. The tide and wind was pretty much in our favour, so we one on the oars and one the searchlight, looking for those, you've guessed it, the pot boys. So once we're safely past them, that's it. We were on to the pattern of rowing one up, 2 hours on, 2 hours off each, and that continued until we arrived at Holy Island in the early hours of this morning, about 5:30. But the journey over, well, it threw everything at us really. It It was super fast to start with the tide, and then we slowed right down, and it took forever and ever and ever and ever to get past the wind farm. Then we sped up again, but then so did the wind, and so did the tide, and so did the waves. So it got to the point where it was really quite sporty as we're coming down the coast with what would be described as rough seas, sort of 3 metre to 6 metre waves probably. When we went down in the trough of the wave, land disappeared. So if you think about sitting on your floor at home and looking up at the ceiling, that's one of the smaller waves we saw last night. Yeah. So it was good fun until it became not good fun anymore. But it became genuine concerns about capsize and safety, so hence why we tried to get into Holy Island. But we had a few visitors on the way across as well, which was really nice.
Yeah, the first visitor was the GXS Valtus, which is a crew transfer vessel, which randomly is operating out of Wick, and they didn't come from Wick all the way down to see us. They happened to be passaging back from a visit to a boatyard, and they saw us and made a point of coming over, hailing us on the VHF, and coming close enough so we could speak, which was really nice to hear a familiar voice and see familiar people. So thanks very much for doing that, guys. It really was a nice thing to do. And just a little bit further on from there, so that was passing the NNG offshore wind farm. There's a guard vessel standing by on that wind farm. So the guard vessel, one of the guys on board had messaged the Facebook page, so they came over and took a little bit of video and had a wave and all that, and we kept on rowing. So
it was guard vessel Tranquility.
Guard vessel Tranquility, that's right. Yeah. So again, it was really nice. It's just nice having a wee bit of contact with humans, because other than ourselves, because we're
sick
of
on
this little boat. But yeah, the sea state built up. I mean, my main concern was that on the east coast of Scotland, or east coast of the UK, sorry, there's not that many places to run for shelter if you need to. You've got got quite an exposed coast there, and there's not so many big estuaries or anywhere like that you can run to. And if you're only rowing at between 2 and 4 knots, it can take an age to get somewhere, and you don't have the power to outrun waves if you're having to run in before them. So Holy Island seemed to be a good option. Looking at the forecast, it was forecasted to increase a wee bit, which it actually did, and the sea state was due to build even more than we were experiencing. So we made the decision to run into Holy Island, and it's a beautiful place, but it was not welcoming.
They didn't want to see us last night.
Yeah, so we wanted to get into the anchorage just directly behind Holy Island itself, so between Holy Island and the mainland, and there's a chartered anchorage in there, but the tides in here, there's quite a significant flow of water, and we just hit it at the wrong time, and there was no way we were rowing against it. So we tried, we really slogged our guts out trying to get in, and we were just burning ourselves out, so we quite quickly just dropped anchor where we were, which wasn't the most ideal of spots. There was a wee bit of sea running in, but it just bought us some time. So we just waited and didn't get any sleep, because I was just worried that the anchor was going to drag, which it actually did.
And out came the big guns.
Yeah, so 7 o'clock in the morning we'd get out on deck and rethink what we were doing. So we got a bigger anchor out. So we carry 3 anchors on board Boadicea. Normally these boats are just carrying 1 anchor, but what we're doing is a little bit different than crossing an ocean, so wanted to be protected and have options, and there's a fair likelihood that we'll lose an anchor. So if you've only got 1 anchor and you lose an anchor, you just need to go into harbour. So number one safety item on a boat is your anchor. So we carry 3, and the day-to-day anchor is a little baby anchor. It's £5 it's got stamped on it, so whatever that is in kilos, it's quite little. And it's quite manageable, and it holds most of the time. That's what we've been using so far. And then we had to get a slightly bigger one this morning, which was 4 kilograms, so slightly bigger delta anchor.
On my anchor. Daddy anchor hasn't come out yet.
No, we've got the big anchor. That's
the Christmas anchor.
Yeah, Mary's Christmas present. Yeah. So we got that over the side, and it bit fairly quick. And then we recovered the little baby anchor, got it back aboard. And so that was at 7 o'clock. So we just sat on the slightly bigger anchor until, what was that, midday?
Midday, yeah, and then
so we could see the tide was due to turn, and there was a slight drop in wind forecast, about 4 or 5 knots of a drop. So that came true, and we managed to get in behind Holy Island. So
yeah, it was just in time, because where we were sitting then quickly became breaking waves as well, which would have just been
there's breaking seas all around.
A world of pain that it would have been game over.
Yeah. So we're in here just now. It's a safe anchorage. There's wind all around us, but we're quite sheltered in here. There's just a gentle ripple in here, but nothing like what we've had. So, you know, just putting that into context, when you're in your 2 hours off, and you know, coming across from Arbroath, and it was rough sea state. When you come into the cabin, you're literally getting thrown around. You've got to kind of wedge yourself in if you want to try and bed down, and the sleep that you do get is very, very limited. It's noisy with the auto tiller running, which it's quite a noisy bit of kit, and it's just right behind your head in a different compartment, but it's noisy. So trying to sleep through that.
Well, you don't really sleep, because you've got an ear open for what's happening on deck as well, when you hear waves crashing over the deck, and it's nothing like that little trickle of water, ice cold water down your back. Just to add to the fun in a really stressful time. Yeah, she took some big waves last night.
It was.
She took
good.
It well though. She took it well. It
really
was still
well.
Quite concerning at times though.
Really well. You see them coming and you think, oh no.
Well, you don't, because it's dark.
Well, I was
that's
watching
a blessing.
some of them coming, because as the light was coming in, we were getting a wee bit of light.
Yeah.
I was watching some of them coming and thinking, oh no, here's a big one. And the boat just handles it so well.
Even the lighthouse light at the top of the hill at St Abbs was disappearing out of sight and then coming back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all in all, what was that, about 28 hours?
Yeah, but do you know what the really good bit is? Because we've cracked the first 200 miles, there's a special bar of chocolate to get wired into.
Yes. Do you like a chocolate?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
I think I might have that as pudding before bed.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan.
Right, on that note, shall we go and eat some chocolate?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right, till we speak again, laters.